Guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 8 on DraftKings is here, and we're going to take a first look at building a tournament lineup with a double stack, bring back in a secondary stack, the way that we do things here on this channel to try and correlate our lineups as best we can to try and find a way to the top of the sheet to win all of the money in tournaments, because that's where I want to be. I'm not trying to min cash. We don't do that here. This is not the min cash mastery channel. This is the channel where we try to win all the kesef every single week, and not going to do that. You're just not going to win every week, so you have to take your shots, because when you're right, you want to be right all the way and get yourself all the way to the top, because that's where all the money exists. If you wanted to get access to the cheat sheet that is in our Discord, go to smizzle.tv/discord. That's step A. Step B, you got to be a channel member here on YouTube, smizzle.tv/join. It's $5 a month to become a channel member, and then follow the instructions in the instructions folder in Discord, which will help you link your Discord to your YouTube and verify that you are a existing and upstanding channel member here. And then every Friday, the cheat sheet comes out in Discord. Come join our beautiful community of 10,000 plus Smizz Gang members. And we're going to do a Smizz Gang Twitter tailgate this week. You'll find the instructions on that in the Discord as well. We're going to get some pizza pies for the Sunday night game, some deep dish for Chicago versus the Chargers, and a Portillo's chocolate cake, all the great things. So thank you all for being here. Drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Smizz Gang Listener League for week 8 is up. 4,000 entries, $10, 3 max, 0 rake. The best tournament that exists on DraftKings. All you got to do is go to smizzle.tv/links. That will take you to the link tree. You will see the Listener League link right here. You can follow me on Twitch if you wanted to catch a live show, Instagram. Make sure you can join the Discord. You can find the fantasy football channel where the recap video exists right meow. It's up right now by the time you're watching this one. Here's the Listener League from last week. This is the one we got to fill by Sunday this week. Go to smizzle.tv/links and make sure that you join today. You saw on the cover that we have certain plays that we want to look at. There's one in particular. You did not think that in 2023 that we would be highlighting Adam Thielen, did you? You never saw that coming. You never, ever saw that. I did not see that coming. But homie's getting way too many targets for us to ignore. Double-digit targets, 13, 13, 14, in 3 of the last 4 weeks. Absolutely ridiculous. Let's go over to the sports book and take a look at the games that are on this slate. We have 13 games. Thank God that bye-week-a-palooza is gone. The bipocalypse, if you will. Now we have everybody on the slate, and we had not only 6 teams on bye last week, but we had 6 teams on island games that were really good teams too, which made it a gross main slate. Hopefully you survived. You can find out how I did on that recap video. Eagles and the Commanders. Eagles by 6.5. The Commanders, I mean, goodness, can we afford the Eagles defense? They should be like 10K this week. As much pressure as they get against Commanders who do nothing but allow pressure. Texans against the Panthers. 42 total here, 42.5. Texans by 3. Jets and the Giants. Jets by 2.5 total, 36.5 gross. Patriots and the Dolphins. Dolphins by 10, 47. $5 running back situation there. Rams and the Cowboys, $5 situation here. 45 is the total. Cowboys by 6.5. Jaguars and the Steelers, 42. Jags favored by 2. Is ETN gonna have 2 more rushing touchdowns in this game? Asking for a friend. Saints travel to Indy. 43.5. Indy by 1.5. I think that we're going to finally see the full Jonathan Taylor role in this game. He was kind of rolled out. As they said, he was going to be deployed more and more and more each week. But as good as Zach Moss has been doing, I don't know if he takes a full back seat. It's probably going to be a 60-40, maybe 65-35 role moving forward. Falcons and the Titans. Falcons by 1, 37 total. Ew. Smith is redacted. I want nothing to do with the Falcons coach ever. Vikings and the Packers. Packers favored by 142. So kind of a slim $5 running back situation, but like who knows, because Aaron Jones not getting as much usage as we'd want him to get on that very young and inexperienced offense. Seahawks, total of 40 here because the Browns are super good. Seahawks by 2.5. Definitely another $5 running back situation, but tough defense, tough sledding for Ken Walker there. Chiefs 8-point favorites over the Broncos, 46.5. Ravens 8.5-point favorites over the Cardinals, 44. Bengals 5.5.5 point dogs to the 49ers, 45.5 there. And then here's the Smizzle Twitter, Smiz Gang Twitter tailgate. Get your deep dish pizzas ordered right now. Do it. You know you want to. It's delicious. Get a Portillo's cake while you're at it. So let's start with Thielen. Since I brought him up already, we're going to come over here. We're going to start with Adam Thielen. We're going to plug him in. We're going to reverse engineer this lineup in the way that we want to reverse engineer this lineup. Number one, that means that I want to have somebody from Houston. And considering that there's a lot of options, more than we thought we would be able to have, right? So like Nico Collins has been very good. He definitely has a ceiling, 30-point games in 2 of their last 5. Tank Dell, he's had an extra week to come back. I'm assuming he's going to be back from the bye week. Robert Woods scored a touchdown on very little volume. Without him, the player that they had that came in was Noah Brown, who was originally supposed to be the slot guy. Then he got hurt. Tank Dell took over for him, and he came back and got 5 targets. I think that it's going to be that triple of Noah Brown, Tank Dell, with Nico Collins, and then Robert Woods is going to be sprinkled in a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see how they play now that they have 4 wide receivers instead of just 3. Tank Dell took the back seat in week 1 until Noah Brown got hurt. Noah Brown only 3K. Might be a value play by the time the weekend gets here. We're going to have to find out. It's Monday. I don't really have answers for you as far as that. However, what do we do against Carolina? We play running backs against Carolina. And I know that Dameon Pierce has not done all that much this season. He does, however, get enough volume. 18 opportunities in week 2, 17 in week 3, 26 against Pittsburgh, and 21 against Atlanta. Against New Orleans, only 13. He has not been efficient because this offensive line does not do a great job of blocking. New Orleans, very good rushing defense. Atlanta, very good rushing defense. Pittsburgh, middling. Jacksonville has been solid. There just haven't been that many opportunities for him. But now he gets one of the worst defenses against running backs in the league that we want to stream against all the time. 5,300 is more than enough value for me to want to fire up Dameon Pierce in a game where other people are going to want to use the passing game, because that's going to allow me access to other double stacks and bringbacks. As far as my first look is concerned, I tend to try and steer clear of players on Monday Night Football. I want this lineup to be something that doesn't have a chance of blowing up in my face 6 hours after I record it. So while I do think that Purdy doubles are going to be viable against Cincinnati, while certainly Christian McCaffrey, a week out from he's active for Monday Night Football, I'm assuming he'll be fine against Cincinnati as well with the oblique injury that he's dealing with. I'm not going to use them in this lineup, but that doesn't mean that they can't be used if you want to use them. There are plenty of quarterbacks that we could center on. We saw the high volume, high dollar plays already, right? With where'd they go? Kansas City. This is a full slate, 13 games. Absolutely love it. Mahomes to Kelsey has been extremely has paid off really well recently. In fact, it was the Millionaire Maker winning lineup this last Sunday. If you wanted to go that route against Denver, totally fine. Options on Denver to bring that back with, primarily with Cortland Sutton, who is still less money than Jerry Jeudy, and I can't figure out why, but he is. So you get the better, more voluminous wide receiver who is averaging more fantasy points for less money than Jerry Jeudy, who we all kind of thought that they would be showcasing, but they haven't showcased him to try and trade him. Everybody's on the market right now. Everybody's being shopped in Denver. You could go with your Baltimore doubles, should you choose. Lamar Jackson in the MVP hunt, running touchdowns in, great volume on the ground. We've seen the ceiling. Yes, you should double stack him if you're going to play him in a tournament, because you're only playing for the games where he gets you that 30-plus point game. The games he gets 18 or 11, you ain't going to win a tournament anyway. But I think that there's other routes that we can go. And I definitely want to try to correlate things. So looking at the quarterbacks that are on the list. Tua, perfect. He's great. You can pay up to go get him. The interesting thing about him is Tyreek Hill is now the most expensive player in week 8 at $9,500, more than Christian McCaffrey. He's been fantastic. But considering how fantastic he's been, 25 points, 31 points, 35 points, he's $9,500. And then at wide receiver, you have 1, 2, 3 spots and $1,500 to get down to somebody like AJ Brown, who's averaging 23.7 points and has the same 30-plus point ceiling, 25-plus point ceiling that Tyreek Hill has. I don't know if I could warrant going up to Tyreek Hill on Monday for this type of a lineup. I do want to have premium plays in there, and I want to take advantage of DraftKings and their scoring system, and I think that there's a way that we can do that by paying less money on this full game slate. I'm not sure how popular this is going to be, but Gardner Minshew has kind of lit things up recently. Now, yeah, he's a turnover waiting to happen, right? That's going to happen. If you wanted to play New Orleans defense against him, fine, go ahead. Not against him in the same lineup. He's not quite Jamesian, right? He's not Jameis Winstoning around, even though Jameis also in this game. Gardner Minshew, when you figure out that essentially the wide receivers that he's played around with on his team have done way better with him under center than with Anthony Richardson under center. They have a better path to ceiling games. They're also extremely cheap. Chad is saying Minshew is this generation's Ryan Fitzmagic. Yes, he is. They both have magic in their nickname. Pittman is only 6,500. This balanced lineup does seem to look ridiculously good. Josh Downs has over 23% of the target market share. Best ball superstar, late round pick, last 2 rounds in best ball. He's been way too cheap constantly. He should be about a $5,500 receiver in any time that Minshew is under center, and it's going to be for the rest of the year, barring injury. Josh Downs has big playability, 38-yard catch, 30-yard catch, 59-yard catch, touchdowns in each of the last 2 games, and high volume that is on typically low A-dot throws, which leads to a high conversion rate of targets to catch. That means we got to bring it back with somebody on the other side. I'm not buying this. You can. If you want to buy into the Taysom Hill at tight end, 4,000, you do have upside. I get it. Go for it. As long as Juwan Johnson's out, he seems like he is going to be the primary guy catching more footballs, still has the upside for rushing touchdowns. Olave really good, more than Thomas for me, especially if they switch quarterbacks. But Alvin Kamara is an impossibility right now and is still too cheap. 14 targets, 8 targets, 14 targets in 3 of the 4 games that they have played so far this year, averaging 21.7 points for 7,300. Remember how I kind of highlighted the ceiling for a guy like Tyreek Hill and the average scoring points per game for a guy like Tyreek Hill? We're getting that from these mid-range guys like Kamara, like Thielen, 22.6 for 6,600. Kamara, 21.7 for 7,300. Both floor and ceiling. 29.3 points, 25.4, sorry, that's in home games. 29.3 points, 21.4 points, and 17.4 points in his 3 games without a touchdown scored. Now he gets the Indianapolis defense, who bleeds points, who gave up 87 points last week to the Browns without Deshaun Watson under center to a PJ Walker-led Browns team. Ford ran for a 77-yard touchdown. Alvin Kamara, 10 times the running back that Jerome Ford is, for whatever that's worth. That gives us this sort of upside. I need to plug in a defense. Let's find a cheapish defense in here. There, Packers against Minnesota. Sure, whatever. That leaves us with $11,400 to spend an average of $5,700. I kind of foreshadowed this earlier. 1, Brandon Ayuk, assuming that Deebo Samuel's still out with the injury that he is dealing with, should see a ton of targets against Cincinnati. I'm not going to use him because of the Monday night situation. But A.J. Brown has had 125 yards receiving in 67 straight games. It's a lot of games. Really 5, but close to 67. Closer than you or me, for sure. 32.7 points, 23.1 points, 21.7, 41.5, 25.1 points, and no sign of that volume that he has been getting decreasing. No less than 8 targets in any of the last 5 games. Washington extremely susceptible to deep passes. Philadelphia very good at actually doing that. The last time they played, he caught 9 balls for 2 touchdowns with a long of 59 for 175. Now, yes, there is the long-standing data that the second time that teams play that are in division in a season, things can kind of change. However, Washington played them extremely tight in that first game. Very well played game by Washington, a game that many people thought they were going to get throttled. But I'm not seeing a way that their personnel is going to be able to shift and eat up AJ Brown and Devontae Smith downfield, which now leaves us $3,400 to pay for a tight end. I mean, we could just go with Logan Thomas here and correlate as well. Yes, he has yo-yoed, a floor of 1 target, a ceiling of 11 so far. He's good enough against this Philly team who does not allow you to run the football and is extremely good against outside wide receivers, but is a little bit softer against tight ends. When you have a tight end that you can pepper against them, you would hope to choose to. He did get 41 yards on 3 receptions the last time they played. Makes for a very solid triple correlation. Double stack, bring back, secondary stack with Thielen to Pierce, and a third correlation with AJ Brown and Logan Thomas at tight end. Appreciate you guys watching. Look for that recap video on the Fantasy Football channel. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.